What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Sitting at $115 right now on this, the beginning of the week. We have, let's see, we have 25 days left in the month too, but we have 6 days, 18 hours left in the week. Had a very bullish finish to last week, didn't we? I think that's what they call a Maru Bazoo. Look it up, Maru, M-A-R-U, Bazoo, M-A, or B-A-Z-U, maybe, Maru Bazoo. That's like a Maru Bazoo candle, man. And truthfully, they're not really suggested that you have to go higher. The idea would be that you do go higher. You're so bullish that you didn't even have a wick to the downside or the upside. It was just buying the whole wick. You started down here and you moved up and you closed right there, right? All buying. So it would suggest that you move higher, but there are some traders that have, statistical data that suggests that these are actually like pretty 50-50. Just because you have this doesn't mean you have to continue moving higher. You can move down, but using context is helpful in the suggestion of where you're going to continue moving after seeing this candle. So I do think that if you look at this here from a low to a high, pulling down, this looks like a perfect bull flag, and I think we're breaking out. I think that's what that is. So can we get continuation based off of this candle, Maru Bazoo? I think so. I think we will. From a high to low, right? High, low there. The next target area, we're at 114 now, would be about $170 to $204, but hold up. That's the primary target zone, right, based on the fibs. If you go to the secondary target zone, that's the 1886 to the 2618, somewhere in this area, about 350 to 235, somewhere in that area, right? I would expect, because this is such a small fib range, I would expect that, yes, you might find significance here at the primary target area, but I really suspect your final destination is somewhere in the secondary target area, which is somewhere anywhere between about 350 to 300 or 235, right? So that's my personal expectation for the next move up. If we look at your current price now, before we measure, I just want to say the average coin is supposed to move 90% to potentially like a 3x, right? So 90% to 200%, something in that range. It's a little bit under a 3x, actually. It's the expectation, but let's just see. To the 1618, which I would expect at a minimum you'd hit, that's a 76% move. So Litecoin would be underperforming the market if it only moved to $200 by the end of February, which is when I think a lot of these coins are going to find the end of their move. The 1886 is all the way up at about 105%, which is average. So that's fine, right? Seeing something at 236, that's a good kind of minimum target. Pessimistic target, 204, 235, good minimum target. 288 now, that's 150. That's a nice like central average kind of price there. 287, something below 300. Let's just see here. We'll put a line there. Put a line right there. And then the 2618, I doubt we hit that, but that's probably our max potential, right? 3x, that actually is on the max side of the potential for the average altcoin. Okay, so, and I'm good at math, but I promise you, even though I had these numbers here, I didn't calculate it to figure out what the percentage was before and then be like a 2 to 3x is what we're expecting. And oh, look at that. That's the exact high of this range. I didn't know that was going to happen, but here we are. We're putting the lines back here, and going back, you can see that minimum expectation kind of target, or maybe not minimum expectation, but out of this range that I'm giving for the probable expectation. Litecoin would likely be somewhere between about 287 to 348. That puts you right at previous areas of resistance, right in this range here. Going back in time, boom, it's literally almost a perfect range, encapsulating previous areas of resistance. So I like that there. If you look at the monthly time frame, and we go from a relative high to a low from the last cycle's high to the bear cycle low. If I take away this fib now, we get rid of all that noise. First and foremost, actually put the noise back on. You can see that your 2272 to 2618 encompasses the 886. The 886 of this overall fib range, which again is from last cycle's high to last cycle, or to the bear cycle low, this most recent bear cycle low. Okay, so the two lines that we drew, it encompasses the 886. The 886, based on where we are, might be the potential high target that we could achieve. So while 348 is on the table, maybe we can adjust that and bring it down to about 318. It's possible. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. Litecoin could move up to 348. It could move all the way up above 380. On this move, it could move up to new all-time highs. You never know. But I think, more rationally speaking, oops, that's not what I meant to do. You probably do. I think it's better to adjust this down. Probably do cap it off at 318. So 318 to 287, the kind of given range. You look at the 786 here at 253. I know you guys are going to hate this, but we're going to move that down as well. I think the 786 is a good kind of target to keep in mind as well. But maybe we can keep that line there and we put it in at the 786. We'll clean this up a little bit now. So this is the expectation for Litecoin by the end of February. is any of those three numbers. 253 from the current price. Again, the expectation is anything from a 90% to a 3x for the average coin. That'll put you in the average range. That'll put you in the average range, and then that puts you basically right at the upper ends of the average range there. So expecting an average move for Litecoin is a good thing, right? Litecoin is a pretty high top tier altcoin. It's been in the top 100, top 50 for most of its life, top 30, top 20 even for most of its life. Or maybe not the top 20 most of its life, but at times in its life, several times in its life. But seeing something on average with a coin like that's in the upper rankings, I think that's a good thing, right? That's a testament probably of good things to come, probably looking for new all-time highs, and that's where we'll get into this here. I know a lot of you like whenever I talk about the all-time high predictions, so let's get into it. You know, if we look at the relative high that got us into this range to the relative low of the range here, relative high to low here, the primary extension zone would be something at about $805 to $2,138. That's the primary target zone. Now, what I will say is the minimum target by definition would be $805. Absolutely it is. I'm going to make an argument for why I think we're not going to see that. And it's not really anything that's like scientific. It's more of just my personal thought, I suppose. I would say logic, but maybe it's not even logical. It's just my personal thought, is that I don't think you consolidated for multiple cycles to when you break out to stop at your minimum move. I don't think that personally. That doesn't sound right to me. I think that you would at least hit this move, if not up here. This would be a good expectation, I think, to have something right above $2,000, okay? But if not, at least right above $1,000 as well. I certainly think that you'll break into that four-figure barrier, right? If you break this, the thing is, too, you've been around for multiple cycles. You very well could see, instead of the primary target zone, you could see the secondary zone. And I don't think Litecoin goes all the way up to 36K, so I think that is part of the secondary zone, but I think it's safe to take off. I very much do doubt that you go to 13K as well, so I think that's safe to take off as well. But 6K to 4.5K, that could be possible. If we look at LTC here, LTC, number 22. Yeah, maybe it has been in the top 20 for most of its life. I forget, man. I don't know. I mean, I've been around long enough. I should know, but I don't know. 8.63 billion. Hold up. Times multiplied by, let's just put it at 13. Let's just see what that would do. That's 115. Let's call it 116x. Let's see you do 116. That puts Litecoin at $1 trillion. So I don't think it happens, but I have to be honest. I suppose if there was a coin in the top 20 that could see $1 trillion market cap, Litecoin could be one of them. It is one of the more used coins by merchant basis. I doubt it sees that. I can hear it already. I know. What's the guy's name? Armin Liu or whatever the other guy's name is. I don't know. The people that talk a bunch of smack about Litecoin. Yes, 13.5K. It is a laughable number. I don't suspect it happens by the end of the cycle. But it is possible, right? To say Litecoin can't see $1 trillion, I don't know if that's true. 2272 target, it's very possible. It could happen. I wouldn't count on it, though. Now, bringing it back down to earth a little bit, 4,500 to 6,300, I think, is more likely to happen. That's anything from a 53x to a 37x. If we do a 37x times what was it, 8.63? 63 times 37. So that'd be 319 billion. I think Litecoin deserves that kind of market cap. I think it's not just deserving of that kind of market cap, but capable of it, right? Something around there, if not even higher. That would give you around $600 billion in market cap, I think, or above $500 billion at least, and that's probably pushing your potential. But really, I think $1 trillion would be the maximum potential that you have, and that's all the way up at about $13,550 there. So, right at that 2272, maybe that's the maximum target. But again, I don't know if I would count on that. This is like moon boy stuff. This is probably more realistic maximum expectations, and realistic maximum expectations are just that. Use all the words, right? Realistic maximum. So out of your realistic expectations, it's on the high end, right? If you were to give it a range. And I like to give it a range. I don't like to just be specific. If you're like, it's going to go right here, well, then what if it goes right there, but then it finds support and then it moves higher? Like, you could have sold at any of these points, but you sold right there. Like, it's better to identify a range, I think, and sell throughout that range ahead of time. But at least, if not, this is the maximum reasonable. This is maximum not reasonable Moon Boy, but still possible. To be fair, it's possible. I doubt it, but it's possible. And then the kind of more realistic, optimal target, and then pessimistic, realistic target, and then absolutely bearish, realistic, or I suppose realistic, bearish, or not realistic, but pessimistic, bearish target would be no new all-time highs or just dirt, whatever, you know. But I do suspect personally, and this should be obvious, as you go higher, it gets less likely, but I think at least 1,200 should be expected, but truthfully, something above 2,000. And you're sitting at $114 now, so something above 2,000 is what I would expect. I really do believe 4,500 to 6,300 could come into the expectations for Litecoin by the end of the cycle. But time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I really do suspect that whenever you break out of this overall range, when you see new all-time highs, that'll bring a lot of attention to Litecoin. So it'll be interesting to see how it reacts whenever that happens. I suspect that move, whenever we do break out above this range, that'll probably happen in April. Not over this coming like next month and a half period, but probably sometime by the end of the year. If not by the end of the year, I'm sorry, by the halfway point of the year. And if not by the halfway point, if we're not above here by the halfway point, I'd be kind of surprised, but it wouldn't be detrimental. But if we're not at new all-time highs by the halfway point, that might be more suggestive of this target here, right? So that's all I got, guys. If you like the video, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Litecoin's sitting at $114 now. It's moving up, right? Over time, it's just going to move up. It broke out of its bull flag here from a high to a low, moving up to $170, $204. Likely, though, obviously, you're probably going to hit this secondary target area, which we identified the likely targets there earlier in the video. So, blah, blah, blah. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.